Good morning to the people who are having a morning. Good morning to the people. All right, we're just going to do this double and triple click thing. And that'll be maybe a short stream. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I'm gonna just sort of start putting this in. Why do I have two diffs open on the same file? That's not useful. I'm just gonna start putting this in, and but I kind of want to refactor it at the same time. That's what I'm saying. You know. Bruh. Okay. So this is inside cursor tracking mouse, but yeah, let's just go ahead and put this block in there too, and that's here. If you're clicking with the mouse is moving, don't count that as double clicks. No check-in. Think about what distance is being used. Okay, that's actually here. So I think this is actually an integer text distance, which is actually kind of reasonable. I'm not sure that I have a problem with this. The thing is, it does mean you could be weirdly messy if you're like out past the end of the text. Because it's the same integer point, you could move your mouse a lot. And so maybe we don't want that to be the distance metric. So now I don't... What function is this? Is just in the draw function. So I don't understand this because I mean, this looks like we're actually clicking. So maybe higher order clicking. See, See, this is weird. This is like expanding the text every frame. Which I don't love. It doesn't seem warranted to me. Like I think we only really want to do this when we actually click. Why don't just think about the question you just asked. Just think about the nature of that question. Think about what you are assuming to even ask that question. It's such a disturbing goddamn question. Just think about the question you just asked. What does it mean? All right, so I already don't want to stream now. God damn. Why do I do this? All right. Seriously, I'm just ready to hang up already. All right, fuck off. Like, yeah. Anyway. So I'm going to call this update multi-click selection. Okay. Okay. What's going on here? Normal dragging. What does that mean? Start character is min, insert point. We'll come back this and look at this later. I don't understand what that is. Okay. We have our expand function. Okay. Let's just make sure this still compiles. It probably doesn't. Click point. Right, we've got variables. Text input state. Click. Oh, because I did, right, this is not in the file. What am I doing? I gotta search here. I gotta search here. Okay. 15. Okay. Did I write this? Pending result actions thing? Maybe I did. I don't know, man. All right. We have a whole text input widget in 1,500 lines. How big is yours that you use? All right. Yes. So all right. I can see what kind of day it's going to be. Okay, we compile now. So it's a question about, whether if you hold the mouse button down for 5 seconds and then release it and then click again, is that a double click? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So right. So the deal is I'm going to put this back where it was. So we're going to say update multi-click selection state, but no check-in. Don't do this every frame. Okay. Please. Thank you. That might be everything that we actually need to do. Dang it. Theme. We don't have theme? Oh. Oh boy. Okay, so I think we store the theme, right? We actually don't. That's kind of obnoxious. Okay, so I don't. I don't like mouse downtime. Yeah, this is only used for this one thing. Okay. Okay. That's actually cleaner in a lot of ways, though. Because then we're doing all the selection stuff. At the same time. See all this stuff, like... I kind of would like all the multi-click stuff together in here, and I don't know. This is for dragging, right? I feel like this should be fine. Okay. So, okay. And then this click point equals -1. Like, do we even need that for anything? Yes. But we literally... just put all that together. Oops, that's not the right thing. But current time, that's a little too current for me. I don't know. Okay, so right now, one click, I broke a lot of things. One click is acting as a double click, and we're like not resetting on distance. I don't know. It's kind of doing it. Instead of saying higher order clicking, because I just want to increment this number every time there's a click. Okay, so if you do the first click, actually, I don't know if we need to do anything there. Okay. Um, okay. So now one click just puts the cursor, that's fine. Two clicks, okay, now we're off by one. So that's a whole issue. And then the time, once we start double clicking, we're like in it, which is not right. So And then that, like what's going on there, man? Oh, because I'm not resetting the variable. I'm not resetting the variable. That matters. Now, for some reason, the first 2 clicks don't do anything. Like what? Oh, because the first click doesn't run this code and we need to fix that. Yes. Check for activating event. Okay, that lets us get rid of that. Okay, so well, no, it still doesn't work. Dang it. Does Windows do that in their thing? Let's see. Notepad. Like if I go here, right? Wait, they're okay. They have a very aggressive double click. They don't do triple click at all. At least in Notepad. Yeah, I don't think I like this oscillating click behavior. I don't like that. I don't think it should toggle between from full back down. I think it should just go up. I think you go 1, 2, 3. Right? God, this is such a bike shedding topic because everybody knows about clicking. Isn't there a double click message on Win32? Well, like, so the thing is, it's complicated because on the one hand, you want to interoperate with the system you're on. On the other hand, you want to write programs that behave the same everywhere. All right? Now, should the way in your bitchin' video game text is selected depend on the operating system you run on? I don't think so. And then, okay, what if it's not bitchin' video game? What if it's like bitchin' Discord clone or whatever? It's like, this way, you've got to realize, okay, all these decisions, this is kind of important. really. On the one hand, there is a technical justification and a UI justification for, yes, you should read the click timing from your operating system or whatever, or use the event. There is a justification for that. On the other hand, you have to realize that all this stuff happens in a background of Microsoft makes all kinds of decisions, and substitute any OS vendor for Microsoft, they're all the same. They make all kinds of decisions oriented toward trapping developers on their platform, right? And preventing them from writing cross-platform software, which is why, one reason out of many, why all these APIs are terrible. So on the one hand, yes, you want to interoperate with the operating system, but on the other hand, the operating system is hostile. They are your enemy. Okay? That's just the reality. So you have to treat it that way, or you just get tied down to one thing. It is a sad state of affairs, yes. But it is what it is. The operating system is kind of your enemy. Kind of. You also have to work with it. Okay, so this thing goes 1, 2, 3 up to a limit and then goes. Now, what does epic, amazing, perfect at everything Visual Studio do? They just do double click as the whole fucking line. Awesome. If you run on Linux, the operating system is not your enemy. No, it's still your enemy. Don't be. It's your enemy for different reasons. It's your enemy because it's helping destroy the technical capability of the human race. Right? With extra steps, yeah. In would you not want, I can't even parse the sentence you typed. In would you not want to avoid, I don't know what that means. The in does not belong there. Okay, would you not want to avoid the Windows behavior in most games? I mean, for me, it's more just about providing something consistent. And the question is, what does consistent mean? Does it mean across one specific operating system, or does it mean across your application? And of course, you can, you as the application can then make the choice to conform to operating system timings or not if you want, right? I guess that's the thing. So if you're making a toolkit here, like we are, or whatever you want to call it, a library with some code that people use, if you make that library just always use operating system settings, and people using that library don't have a choice, right? If you make that library use its own settings but have it be configurable, then they can configure it to use operating system timings and so forth if they want. So that's just better, right? Now, that still doesn't necessarily mean using specific Windows message for these things, but I'm not sure I would ever do that anyway, because that's kind of trash. But if you wanted to do that, you could build that in as an option, right? But I wouldn't make it the fundamental way that things work. You don't think having the timing be adjustable is that important, but the entire way something feels is about timings. So of course it's important. Okay. Adjustable by the end user, not developer. Well, I see. I mean, I have literally never adjusted a double click timing in my life as a user. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what is even happening at this point? So I've got this thing. We've got some stuff. The second click doesn't do anything. Let's fix that. No, actually, let me fix the double click or triple click thing. Yeah, we're just going to top out at triple click. All right, so, whoa. Really? What? What? We're racking up 2 clicks immediately. That's more than or 3? I don't, oh. No. Okay, I deleted the less than 2. Less than 3. Okay. Okay, so that's first click. 2 clicks doesn't do anything for some reason that we have to figure out. 3 clicks is 2 clicks. 4 clicks is 3 clicks. So we still need to figure out first click advantage here. Oh, we do return here. But that should be fine. I just want to see, do we print this the very first time that I click? I think we will, but let's see. Nope. Really? I don't understand why that's happening. Really? Really, bro? What? So this check for activating event is not firing. Like, we activate sometimes without doing check for activating event. What is the deal with that? What? That's something to fix. Do we think we're active? Let me just see. This is going to be spammy. But I want to see if we have more than one thing active. So okay, it only fires off when we press a key. What? Bro, what is happening? Well, what even theory do I have? So somehow we're getting activated. See, okay. This right here. Is activating us sometimes. Right? And I think that Okay. I don't think I wrote this. So I want to understand what when was this added and what was it part of? Because I kind of don't like, there's two ways that the text widget is getting activated. Maybe I did write it and it was a bad day. Or maybe not even a bad day. Maybe I was kind of just tired. Line 44. It was me. 18680. Let me see what. One eight six. It wasn't even that long ago. Well, May. Okay. More text input API modification. What did I do? Okay, we already had. I guess I'm giving you the ability to activate and deactivate via the call. Okay, well, this is going to be messy. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so the deal is, I think we have two ways that we are activating the text input depending on the timing of what happens or something. Maybe. So let's see that. Because maybe we just need to clean that up. Alt activate. Alt activate. Activating event. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I don't want to derail. So I'm just going to do this, but I'm going to say clean up alt versus normal activate. This shouldn't be happening two different ways based randomly on timing. That's bullshit. But, okay, there we go. Now we're getting the click time. So now we're consistent. We're still one click off. Why are we getting activating event literally every time now? What happened to all our alt activates? You know what it is? I bet it has to do with the rect not being set up, but once we've clicked in it a bit, it like is or something. Yeah, we're going to have to investigate that because it's not good. Because now we're getting the normal activating event creation like literally every time. Up there we got alt activate, and then we got activating. It's literally the very first one only? Okay. Cool, cool. So now, why are we one click off? Let's just check to make sure that, so click 0. Oh, right. Yes, because last click time is frickin' -1 or whatever the first time. And it's always one click. Right? Because we get here if we clicked. So we reset to 1. Oh, we already checked that out there. Duh. All right. Okay, so pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable. Glad you like the programming language. We put so much work into it, man. And we will put so much more. But yeah, glad you like it. Okay. So, kind of reasonable behavior for now. Aside from all the 10 million no check-ins that I put. Okay. So we have this activate versus alt activate thing. I'm going to keep punting that because that's sort of an orthogonal issue. So we're going to do no check-ins just having to do with other things. So, but because my mind is there, what I think is happening is that handle event is literally just never getting called. Because that's getting dispatched by something that isn't dispatching it. That's my theory about this. It's never getting called till after the first activate. So we're going to have to debug that. Okay, what order should this be relative to multi-click stuff? I think this is fine. This is about okay. Now, mouse down time. Okay, it's not actually mouse down time. So that is not a thing anymore. Think about what distance is being used. Yeah, I feel like we might want a pixel distance as opposed to a character distance. And the reason is, right? So the thing is, yeah, see how if I'm way out here and I can move the mouse quite a lot and it still counts as a triple click? Why? Because it's the same character index, because we're clamping to the input point of the end. And I don't think that that's... I mean, it's probably fine, but it's kind of not what people expect. Update multi-click selection. Oh, you know what? Now we're not doing it every frame. Right? One, double click. Uh-oh. Wait. Really? Really? Let's back that out for a second. So that was down there. And actually, let's get rid of this line for a second. Okay. So there we go. We're back to correct behavior. So now, is it about... Okay, this last mouse down point, I think actually both of these should move into there. We're going to want to rename that variable still. Wow, okay. What is going on? You wonder if you would need to check that the line numbers are the same. The secret of the current selection is that even though there are variables for line numbers, they're completely unused right now. They're just completely ignored. We don't do multi-line selection right now. Okay. You know, it's been an hour and 15 minutes and we're still not done with this. So it just goes to show who can predict. Now, this implies to me that there's something fundamentally wrong about what's happening. Because the difference between this and what we had is just whether it runs only on click or whether it runs every frame. You could imagine if on the initial click, that you didn't quite select everything for some reason. You could imagine that getting like fixed up on a subsequent frame and you don't notice. But I'm not really seeing a plausible mechanism for that. But it's going to be something about the order in which we update the insert point and whatever the fuck, right? Like we do a bunch of stuff down here. That probably should be factored into a different function. Because all this, this dead zone stuff is about like scrolling around. Excuse me, had to cough. And, that's mostly not relevant to what most people want to think about a lot of the time. Let's go ahead and change these. Using the new features. Oops. Okay. I'm just sort of looking for things that are going to mess up our initial stuff, but I don't see that. I don't see that. Well, Let's put this back down here for a second. And we'll just try to look for behavior that's wrong. So it's behaving correctly right now. Visually. Now, I expect we will see just the same numbers, which invalidates my theory about changing from frame to frame, but I don't know. So let's see. Ah. Wait. So I'm clicking around. These are just single clicks. Double click. Oh, but this is right. Okay, no, this is correct. Let's just... So we're going to log what the selection is going into that code and what the selection is going out. So now here's what I don't get. Wow. We called it 3 times and the selection kept getting reset. And then now we're not calling it at all. I thought we were doing this every frame. Oh no, because we're only... When are we doing this? This is inside this big ass if statement of cursor tracking mouse, which is only if we're dragging. Wait, what? No wonder this doesn't fucking work. Bro. I mean... Let's do this for a second. So now it's going to happen every frame. But so you actually see here, we set it from 6 to 13, and then somebody clamped it back to the insert point before we came back into the function. And that's our problem, is so we're fighting with somebody, right? And it's probably this code right here about tracking the mouse. So that's not good. See, okay. On the one hand, maybe it's fine. I actually want to do this before the cursor tracking mouse stuff, because I want to say if we're multi-clicking, like once you're double clicking and stuff, I don't want you messing with that insert point. All right, so single click, double click. Didn't. It's like we cleared it out. Oh. Okay. See that selection was modified down there? I don't think that's the cause of the new problem, but yeah. So now we're setting it. Maybe we're not setting active. Wow, this is just getting messy. I mean, not really, but just in terms of the number of things I'm debugging at once. Yeah, like this should be setting active. Okay. So this is one of these things where like code gets messy and weird. Like it was actually the dragging code that was setting it to active, but you kind of would like the click code to be orthogonal to drag code. All right, so there's a double click. It's not getting reset. I can drag. We're somehow one click off again. Like a double click isn't cutting it. If I triple click, I get that. Double, triple, quadruple. Okay, why are we back to that? But we can get rid of this now because we're getting expected behavior from here. Okay. Let's rename mouse down point to click point, please. I had a no check-in rename. All right. Getting rid of that one. Now, wow, this is getting kind of like when I work on stuff like this where there's just a bunch of tiny issues, it gets a little frazzling. It's like watching Frazzle rock. Okay, so what am I even looking at? So dragging code is next. Don't do dragging if we are multi-clicking, which is why we check no consecutive clicks less than 2. Okay. So the problem here is probably the alt activate again. Where does that happen? That's in that should be active before we call draw. Setting a new paradigm. Hell yeah. Let me just log this again so I can see. Whoops, nope. Recompile, please. So, boom. We do get a click on that. Double click. Okay, we got 2 more clicks. So we are getting to this code in the expected way. That is good. This last click point probably should go elsewhere, honestly. Okay, so 1 click. Cool. 2 clicks. Consecutive 2. 3. So all that is fine. Bruh. All that is fine. So this should say the same number as above. If it doesn't, then we know the deal. And then down here, I should have kept my thing. Okay. So 1, 2. Wait, it works now. What? That time it didn't. Multi-click selection clicks 1. Really? It's going down. Oh, because we reset it to 1 under some conditions. Right? Last click point not equal to state.insert point. Right. The insert point yeah, okay, here's the thing. The insert point is updated by the dragging code. As I have argued, I don't think that's the right metric anyway. And I don't like the way it ties. You know how, like some of the confusion I was having was like, oh, is the click code, how orthogonal is it to the selection dragging code and stuff, right? And when things are really coupled in that way, such that you get confused about what can you even edit right now, that is really bad. And also, this is just sort of a behavior that we don't even really necessarily want. And so if we change the criterion, right, what we're talking about is like, what's the criterion for how much your cursor could move before a double click isn't a double click, right? And actually, using the text insert point is a very bad criterion for another reason, which is you could start a double click just like 1 pixel off from being the next character over. And then if your mouse moves by like just 1 pixel, it doesn't count as a double click. Whereas if you start it in the middle of a character and then you move by 3 pixels, it does count as a double click, right? So it's a very inconsistent criterion. And so the thing to do is just change to like a Cartesian distance or something, right? So we're going to do that. And that both gives us better feel, broadly speaking, and it orthogonalizes this piece of code from the other code, which will fix this problem that we're having of last click point not being happy. You're moving the mouse in between the double clicks. Try not fucking moving your mouse while clicking. Let me know how that goes. Let me know how that works out for you. Especially with an 8000 DPI mouse. RGB gamer. Okay, so instead of last click point, why do we even have click point and last click point? What is click point for? Start character. Oh, God. Fucking. Okay. See, that's the thing is we do want to know where to start selecting in the thing. So, see, I do want, okay, I could recompute the insert point myself. It's actually easy. Maybe we should do that rather than using, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. One thing at a time. Multi-click selection. We're going to decouple it even further. Instead of saying click point, I'm going to say point is get insert point for cursor font. Oh, this sucks, actually. All right. Because I don't want to propagate font stuff and whatever down into there. So I'm going to say point is this. Ugh. See, I kind of want to do, okay, we're going to do what we can do. We're going to bring this back together later. Update multi-click selection state, comma, point. Okay, so we haven't fixed the number of clicks issue. All right, but we have, yeah, see it went down to 1 there again. Sometimes it goes down to 1. However, we're starting to decouple this. So now we don't need that other point to be initialized because we're doing it here. Now, I don't like that we're doing it here, and we will seek to bring it back together later, but maybe by factoring a different piece out or something. But my goal, though, is now that we have done this, we don't need last click point at all. Goodbye, goodbye. Oh, you know what? We're going to want to replace that with something else. So I'm going to leave the code. So down here, this last click point and click point, which by the way should be together, we're going to have last click position as a vector 2 and click position as a vector 2. I mean, bro. Do you even lift? Okay, so I probably have not deleted all those. Oh, we don't allow backslash as the first character. That's food for thought. Yeah, so like I said, we didn't delete all of them. Last click point. We're making a mess. Oh, right. I didn't change all these. Click point. These should have been points. So I didn't really test the thing that I thought I tested because I didn't change those. So I hope it still works. So 1 click, 2 clicks, there we go. 3 clicks, 2 clicks, 1, 2. So you see now we're not missing anymore. We're not missing anymore because we're no longer coupled to the drag code, which is good if you don't want to go insane with long term. Should we even... like putting the mouse cursor in the middle of the selection like this is kind of weird, right? Like we maybe shouldn't draw it if it's inside the selection. But that's a thing we could think about later. So we have fixed a thing. Now the problem is I can move my mouse cursor all I want during the double click. Right? And we don't really want that. Which is why we're going to have this last click position. All right. So now we're going to say now this is annoying. Now, okay, The no check-in train is like never gonna fucking end, and I'm never gonna be able to stop working on this. Um, the problem is, hey, now we're gonna record things in screen coordinates. What happens when the resolution changes while we're doing this? Right? We're technically a little bit incorrect. Okay, anyway. So now we're going to say distance to break, double click. We're going to put this on the theme or something. Right now it's hard coded. I don't know, frickin' 8 pixels. And I'm toying around with whether to make the last click point infinity. No. So if we don't have a last click point, because this is the first click, actually, what? Okay, we shouldn't be checking this if it's the first click, right? So here's what we do. If it's one click, we do this, right? Else, we do this check. Right? Right. So distance to break, double click. If distance greater than or equal to. Okay. We do that. Was there any other like click? Oh, it's position, by the way, not point. And this was initializing it. But like I was saying, we want this. So I think that's fine. So 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks. Okay, now if I see I'm clicking and moving the mouse over here, it's not doing it anymore. Except sometimes when I don't move the mouse enough. Eight pixels really isn't very much at 4K. See that? Pretty good. How should you mark fields that are dangerous to touch, not through special functions? Well, like, okay. If there are fields that are like dangerous, what do you mean by dangerous? Get more specific. Give me an example, because I think in this kind of discussion, it's very easy for it to go off in the weeds when you're being like super hypothetical. And because if you're just like, like that programming thing that we do, I'm like, well, I think a lot of the way people are taught to program is bad. And so we don't necessarily have the same starting point about what we want to do. Now, that said, I do agree that there is such a thing as, struct members that are sort of toxic waste like that you don't want people to mess with. But I just want to make, that's the function of having a concrete example, is that we can make sure we're really talking about the same thing. How about changing the mouse cursor to it? It's not what I'm working on. How about if I work on what I'm working on? There's still a number of things. We've still got this alt activate problem. Milo Yiannopoulos is messing with us. Okay, distance here. Okay, we're actually going to put this on the theme. Distance to break multi-click. I don't know. O.8 in ems. We really could use units for some of these things. In ems, if you move the mouse more than this between clicks, it doesn't count as a multi-click. Like in standard vector, you can't change size field because it changes when you call push back or something, or when you create mesh. Well, see, okay, already there's philosophy of how to program entering this, right? So for example, in this language, we have an automatically, resizing array data structure that's, built into the language. But it's sort of the equivalent of std : vector, right? In some ways, but it's much simpler. And part of it being much simpler is we encourage programmers to mess with it. So like in ours, you can change the size field if you want. And it's expected sometimes. It's like an expedient way of getting things done. And so, for that specific case, I'm like, I wouldn't really do it that way. Now, that said, I could imagine slightly more complicated data structures that are yet less universal that have that problem. So, yeah, okay, that is definitely a thing that we can talk about. When you create a mesh object in OpenGL and store VBO variable, and you won't give someone ability to change it. Well, I mean, again, here's the weird thing. There's two different issues. It sounds to me like you're talking about control. You want to control what other people are able to do. I don't care about that very much, right? What I care about is confusion. Are people confused about what they should be doing, right? Are they going to accidentally make a mistake by like not knowing how to use something? And then they try using it by setting some member field, and it's not something they should be dorking with in that way, right? But if what you're saying is, I want to control what people do, I, this might not be the programming language for you, right? This language isn't about that, right? Um, now, how do you create or how do you remove confusion and create clarity around whether you should mess with stuff? Well, for example, let's say you have a struct and there's some fields that's a good idea for people to set because it's expected. Like let's say you configure some stuff by setting these members. And then there's other members that are like, these are sort of internal bookkeeping things where if you don't extremely know what you're doing, you're going to break stuff if you assign to these, right? Well, you could put those latter ones in a substruct, for example. And you could even, using the substruct so that they're nameable at the same level as the other things, right? For your own convenience. You could even do that for external users, but like you can put them together in a place where you say, don't mess with these, right? And like if you frickin' put that comment in the code, then people will understand. Like this is the thing is like some of these programming practices are ways of making up for extreme lack in other areas. If people have no idea what the fuck's going on all the time, of course they're going to do the wrong thing, right? But if you actually build things simple enough for people to understand, and then you explain to them how things work, and then even fields that you're not supposed to edit or whatever, if people can look there and see them clearly and understand them, then they'll understand how the thing works internally a little bit better. And you can expect them to do a better job of using the thing. And somehow we just gave up on all that. And what I would say too about this is all of these ideas that people have about how to program that are ensconced in these languages, sometimes they sound reasonable in the beginning, but just look at where they go, right? So here's this idea about we're going to have public and private, right? So that we can control mistakes. And then we're going to have objects, and they could have friends that could refer to their private parts, but then you'll have hierarchies where people who are related could see each other's private stuff automatically without being friends and whatever. And like, it just turns into this big ass complicated thing really fast. And we know what the outcome of that is. Like you can look at C++ and see what it actually turns into. And okay, maybe there are some choices along the way where, maybe they went full R and you don't need to do that. But I think my point is just it's never going to be as simple as the initial idea. And that just has to be taken seriously of how complicated is this going to turn into really, and how much are you paying for this, right? So that is just my attitude about this, broadly speaking. Now, all that being said, I do agree there is a thing where sometimes you want to protect data members, right? I just don't think that it's so important that it's worth all these heavyweight features. I don't find myself needing to do that enough. And in fact, if I program knowing that that's not an option, that there just aren't private fields and that's not what we're going to do, I end up designing things that are simpler and that are more data oriented. And then it's like, yeah, I expect you to be able to copy this thing and dork with the members. And it's actually kind of more fun. So that's my current stance on it. Of course, it may change over time, etc. Couldn't you do this with metaprogramming? You could, but it seems like a very heavyweight thing to do in a metaprogram, but you could do that. Yeah. I'm going to grab another drink. Oh, no, I still have some tea here. Hold on. All right. I had thought this might be a quick 1 hour stream. We're already double that. Okay. So so this is relative to the font size, which is maybe a little bit weird. Oops. Wrong order of arguments. Oh. Let's call it break distance. So, you know, we're talking about it relative to the font size, which is just one way of being proportional to whatever you're doing. You could, you know, we have ways of specifying distances, like these are also in ems, right? But we have other ways of specifying distances relative to the screen or just in raw number of pixels. But like having people specify that separately seems weird, whereas this just auto scales, right? So we're going to try that. And if we don't like it later, then I don't know. So we have this copy pasta to think about. This one can go. We're not actually doing this every frame anymore. Normal dragging. So we have these that I don't understand. All to activate. Activate. What about resolution change? Okay, so we have like 8 no check-ins, but they're not necessarily that bad. I'm getting ready for some golden monkey. How does that sound? Could you decide a particular way to signal a private member so it would be standardized? No, if you want it to be standardized, just put it in the language, right? Or make it a convention. But I don't, like I said, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If I thought it, like part of the experiment that we're doing right now is like, dude, what if we make this whole game engine and widget set and this whole user level library without private members? How does it go? And the answer is it's going great. So like, I don't feel the need to do these things. It always seemed like a defense against autocomplete. That's an interesting idea. If you can autocomplete prompt your way through API discovery. That is an interesting point. But here's the thing, actually. I feel like if I wanted to communicate with autocomplete, there's a bunch of stuff that I could say to it, right? That you could put, I'm not even sure what it all would be yet, but you could put notes on like the struct members to say like, make this one extra bright because it's the main entry point. Or like, here's 2 sets of functions that users can use, but one is beginner and one is advanced, but they're all valid for you to use, right? And you could color them differently or whatever, right? So I feel like if one embraces that idea that it's actually communicating with autocomplete, you can actually do a much richer job of that. All right, I'm going to boil some golden monkey water. I'll be back in a second. And we will continue attacking the no check-ins. So while the water is boiling, what is additional alphanumeric expand? I would like to understand this and then enlarge the comment. So like, it's like we do an expand over spaces or whatever. And then we expand? How does that... It didn't seem to be behaving that way, did it? So like, I've got some spaces and some stuff, right? And then double click. Okay, I selected all the spaces. That's what I expect, because we say, is the initial character a space, right? Etc. So what's this for? This seems to be saying after you expand alphanumerics. But it's not even doing that. Is this, guys, is there some conventional behavior where you would expand to outer things? Like if we go here, right, I've got a bunch of spaces, double click. It's selecting the word to the left. Is that a thing that people want or expect? That's very weird. I've like literally never thought about that. We're talking about double click. We are not talking about triple click, please. Water's not done yet. Okay. We got boiling water. We got milk. We're getting down toward the bottom of the jar of Golden Monkey tea. Just in time for me to move. Uh-oh. Oh, I do. I was going to say, I can't wash the tea because I don't have a spare thing, but I have last night's glass of water here. So we wash the tea. Boom. And then we go. That is now steeping. Sublime just selects the spaces for you. VS Code just selects the spaces. Yeah, I mean, this selecting stuff to the left doesn't make that much sense to me. Let's leave this up in case. Let's see what old school Visual Studio does. Like, it's just, it doesn't even select the spaces. It's selecting the words to the left or right of the space, which honestly might make more sense. Like, because, I mean, maybe I just missed what I was going to click on, right? It's interesting too. Okay. So they move the cursor to the end of the double or triple click. That kind of makes sense, right? Although they move it to the beginning here. That's kind of weird, but maybe fine. Let's do that today, because if we're doing double, okay, so cursor position after clicks. What do you guys think is good behavior for this? Like, this seems fine. I mean, if you were in a right to left language, you would put it there, right? But because having it in the middle is awkward. Oh, what if we have a 2+ size space? So big space. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, I'm just going to put that as like a maybe future functionality, right? So if I have a 1 size space, we select it. Okay, so polish. Some editors will select nearby text if it's a small range of spaces, because maybe you just missed the text, or select the spaces if it's a big range. We could think about that. The entire Poland. What about the entire Poland? Why are people saying things that have nothing to do with what I'm asking? Okay. Anyway. Oh, polish. I get it. Ha. Okay. Now. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out because I don't understand what it's doing, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything anyway. Let's make sure that that is okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? Since we're talking about the cursor, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So, instead of having more no check-ins, let's say insert point. In a right to left language, you'd put it on the left, question mark. Okay, so we don't need this log message anymore. That's just noise. And this is something about, like, if you're clicking after the insert point, I don't know. I feel like this included the dragging code, and I don't want this to have anything to do with the dragging code. So we'll probably try removing that next. Okay. So this is like kind of duplicating that Visual Studio behavior. 1 click, 2 clicks. Hey, look, it went to the end. 3 clicks, it went to the beginning. I don't know why the beginning. That's a little bit... Because I guess when you start typing text, it's going to go there if you're left justified. Always at the end makes more sense to you. Yeah, I mean... Emacs puts it on the next frickin' line, man. That's... okay, what about Twitch? Twitch.tv. Twitch.tv, there's no visible cursor when I triple click. Or double click. They just don't draw it. Oh, you can't have a selection and an insertion point at the same time. Which honestly might be fine, I don't know. Delete the whole selection by pressing del. I don't know. Anyway, we can change these things easily. So, I'm just going to comment what happens. Put the cursor at the beginning of the line, the insertion point. Put the insertion cursor at the end of the selected region. This is a test of code. I mean, it's all good. I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming out. It's relatively simple for how much it does. Multi-click selection. Let's remove that log message. Okay, that doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, let's try commenting this out, because I feel like that was about dragging in a way that we don't need. There's double click, double click, double click, double click, double. I think I moved the mouse. There we go. Double click with the mouse move. Triple click. Double click, double click, double click, double. See, that was weird. I felt like that should have been a valid double click. Maybe I moved. I was moving pretty fast. Maybe it was fine. I mean, again, I was moving though. I don't know. I've got to like play some of these back. We need the freeze frame slow-mo cam. Okay, yo. Now, see right there? Yeah, I don't know. Did I really move it by that much? I don't think I did. I feel like we're failing to double click sometimes. Maybe I'm hallucinating it. Wait, right there, it definitely didn't frickin' do it. Okay, I'm gonna keep this as a separate line of investigation because I still haven't eaten anything today, but I feel like, yeah, yeah, I feel like it's just not happening sometimes. Like 95% of the time, it works every time. You know what I'm saying? All right, Golden Monkey tea is now being poured. And then for breakfast, we have Bjorn's cinnamon Colorado honey that goes in the Golden Monkey tea. Yum, yum. So much honey. Oh my gosh. I wish I had the camera on so you could see. And then we put the milk in. Very good. Very good. Okay, okay. We should get a better font for this right here. Also better colors. I need to make this start up with less ugly colors, man. All right. So when you drag the window fast enough, the mouse doesn't hold the corner. So it's actually not possible to sync these things. So the thing is, on these systems, the cursor is actually done via an interrupt, like in hardware. There's like special stuff on the GPU to blend the cursor at the last possible instant. And so your rendered frame just doesn't ever match the cursor unless you draw the cursor in software. But we're using the operating system cursor here. So it is simply not ever possible to synchronize these things, which is sad. Okay. You can sync it if you schedule your frame just before VSync. Yeah, maybe. The problem is you need to... The problem is the position of the cursor is independent of what events have been sent to you about where it is as well, right? And so you also would need to make sure that you are guaranteed to have gotten all cursor position events, including and up to, right? I mean, there's a race condition, right? So rendering your frame takes some time. And you need to have done the tracking the cursor motion. And then between that time, while you're rendering the frame, the cursor could move more, right? That's just the way that it is. Do you use raw input for the mouse motion? I don't think we do currently. It was just, I don't know, like all these APIs are kind of a pain in the ass. It's too hard to understand as far as I know. So we'll look at it at some point again. Your program needs to be fast. No, I'm saying it's impossible to be fast enough. It's simply not possible. You can get close, maybe, but it's simply not possible to be fast enough. Okay. What was I? Okay, I was verifying that code about dragging didn't. I think especially now that we're setting the cursor position, it really doesn't make sense. So we take this out. All right, now how many no check-ins are we down to? Alt activate, activating event. Well, what was the second one? Cleanup. Okay, this is okay. That's for the log message. That's for the actual problem. That's for the log message. What about resolution change? I don't know. Let's do this. Because I think what we're going to want is some kind of general thing where we tell all the widgets, dude, the resolution just changed. So like anything you're doing, break it or something, right? That's just going to be a future mechanism that we implement. I'm not going to worry about that on this stream. All right, there's this copy pasta. Let's look at that one finally. So we have decoupled all our stuff. Now the question is whether we should couple it again. Guys, I have, I'm not going to say it. I have a cool idea for one of the features that already exists in the language. The more that I use it, the more I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if blah? And I think I'm going to do it this weekend because fuck yeah. People might think it's a little bit Perl-like. No spoilers. It's only the beta people will get to know what the feature is. I think it's going to be kind of fun. But I'm looking at a few lines of this code and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Monads. Nope. No monads for you. No monads for you, please. Please, Mr. Monad. Okay, so I mean, all this, we could just have a simplified get insert point. The thing is, if we're dragging, we end up doing this work the same, I don't know. Nobody else calls this, right? Which is a clue that the API could be different, right? So here, what if I just pass the text input state? Here's what we're going to do. One thing at a time. We're going to remove the last text X. All right, we're going to remove the last text X. Oh, you know, okay. The problem is... All right. Let's do this. We can at least fold this part. Oh, yeah, we don't know. Okay, God. This is annoying. Okay, let me reread this comment carefully, right? Because this frame-to-frame stuff matters. We need to figure out... We used to do this after rendering the text. Right, but we do it earlier. See the okay, so here wait, I don't understand because we know what the text X is going to be now. Oh. Okay. Right. The important thing to note is if the widget is moving, the user clicked where they wanted a place that was correct last frame, which is why we are using last text X rather than a fully updated text X for this frame. Maybe that's fucking stupid. Do we think that's maybe just fucking stupid? What it, I am debating with myself. I am debating with myself. Okay. We're going to pass in current text X. We're going to keep this. Okay. So now I don't feel bad about that being a it's just one line, right? And we get rid of the funky infinity testing, the infinity war. We're always having an infinity war, people. It's just whether you realize it or not. Okay. So okay. We didn't pass the state. Okay. Great. Now, okay. Possibly, probably it's not worth all this, and we should just use the current frame text X always. Complication and feedback risk. Okay, great. Yeah, what was my 2017 comment? Yeah. We actually do expand it. I think this comment isn't even relevant. Yeah, this comment is... like... we're not assuming anything anymore. So this is just an example of a comment that made sense at one time and now doesn't, because we iterate over the actual glyphs now. So Jeej. Okay, so here's this problem, which is we're not getting to handle events. Handle event. Who even calls this? Okay. I'm getting hungry, guys. Wow. Okay. Handle event. No, that's in the game. Okay. Okay, no. We want to get wrecked now. Get wrecked, handle event. Handle event. Wait. Oh, we must be setting this. No. Let's get rid of the parentheses. text display handle. No, handle event. Okay, 125. Text input event. Okay, that's got to be our callback. Yep, event proc. Okay, so I believe we are not getting our event proc called. Right? Hey, right here, event proc. If active widget, right now, we only pass it if it's a text input state. So maybe it's not active widgets. Let me just see. I probably need better logging than that, but let's see. Okay. So I click. Okay, active widget C980. Okay. So the problem is, yeah, okay. We're only dispatching to the active widget. Which when the mouse button left comes in for this guy's the active widget. So we're not dispatching him the event. So the other guy is still active, right? Okay. What do we do about this? Right now, since this is a very text input specific thing, well, okay, there's two ways to think about it. One is we should clean it up so that we always call check for activating event, even if it's not the active widget, right? And that could be a different event callback or something. Although, how do we know? We would look over all the active states that are text inputs. We could do that. Or we could realize, wait a minute, we're only calling this when we're active. So check for activating event doesn't fucking do anything ever. It literally never does anything. And we wait till the draw proc to activate. Now the problem with this is as follows. Let's say you get a bunch of buffered input that starts with an activating event like a click, and then you have some keystrokes that come in on the same frame as the click, right? Which you might think is something you don't need to worry about, but like, man, sometimes the frame rate in your game gets slow. Sometimes, I don't know, you're playing back recorded input and it's coming in really fast. So if I don't handle it exactly when the click happens, then we would put all of the other key press events in the wrong place. They would go to the wrong widget. And so it's almost like handling the events out of order at that point. And, you know, I have had frustration sometimes with things not behaving well enough at low frame rates. So I am convinced that I want this to behave well in that case. So we are not going to wait till draw. So my conclusion is we're going to make check for activating event work, and we're not going to do the alt activate. That is bullshit. I mean, there still will be the way that you could activate from user level by passing the activate flag, but we won't check for left click in there because that's a redundant extra thing. Okay, that sounds good to me. Now, since okay, I'm gonna put a thing to explain myself, but first we make it work. That's just how I do this. Check for activating events. Okay, we're not going to do this. You know what? This entire thing yeah, I don't know. Okay. So we have that's not what we want. System. We have a table with all the widgets in it. These are the active widgets, state stack. These are all states we're currently drawing. I'm not sure that's the right thing. Right, that's an intra-frame thing. Where, I forget what file this is in. Hold on. So we say get hash, find or create state. Who does that? Find or create state, table find, multiple, state table, hash. Yes, okay. So we're going to do this. For state table, if widget.widget type is not equal to text input state continue. Check for activating event, widget event. Robustness, what if we have overlapping widgets? Now, I actually want to check some more stuff, like last getRect frame. If widget.last getRect frame is less than or equal to current or less than current get rect frame -1. Continue. It's just not drawing. Not currently drawing. All right. So why is this a U32? That doesn't seem good. Let's make that 64-bit since it just counts. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Frame wrap. Frame wrap. Event. Undeclared. I did not declare my major in college. Event. Oh. This is not even... Wait, I literally... See this code? Remember, guys, longtime viewers of the stream will know that sometimes I just don't read the code. See that? See that? Okay. Wow. Wowie wow. Okay, so we're gonna set a breakpoint because we're like, why? Oh, you know what? We have mouse X float and mouse Y float. I forgot about that. Y cast. Y cast indeed. Okay, so I feel like all right. Click. Alt activate activating event. Wait. Now we're getting double click every single time because activating event is happening every single time. And then we're also getting alt activate. Or something. Dude, okay. Anyway. Let's do this. I don't think that's the problem. Okay, double. Double, toil and trouble. Great. Now, is it this one? Is it... So, we do also check for activating event. Here we get the status flags, which is frickin' redundant anyway, right? Okay. Double, 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 double. Why are we doubling? Why are we living in Dublin, Ireland? Wait. At this point, I haven't changed anything. Oh, except maybe this part? Hold on. Hold your horses. Oh, right. Okay. Duh. Because I was calling this for any event and this wasn't. Okay. 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 Just get status flags. It checks scissor and all that. All right. Okay. We're going to change this instead of is inside. Yeah, so we don't get it the first time still again. I bet it's get status flags. Okay. The problem is I'm spewing this for all these dudes. But we're getting A's here, which means the window doesn't match. Like, what is even happening there? No. So those are text inputs that are, those are like, yeah. So as I right click these, all right. So those are text inputs that have never even been instantiated. So that this is actually fine. I'm not worried about that one. Let me just check this. We should get one that's not a B. You know what? I bet this checks active. Like, okay. See. The problem is, what if we're the active widget? That's not the problem that we have right now. But like, it could be. All right, events occluded. Ah. Yes. Okay. So all right. This is all fine. Let me step in. And no, not examples. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's already open as a... Oh, okay. Right, duh. I literally just did that. And then I spaced. Get rect module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Okay, so now I just want to check when I single click. Okay, we didn't even get there to our breakpoint. Like literally, see, we get there. Event. Keyboard, I mean, we lie. Mouse, left. Key pressed is 0. Like what? Are we discarding the initial mouse down like at a very fundamental level? What? Events to handle. Get rect handle event. All right, let's... When do we queue this puppy? We queued keyboard key pressed is equal to 1. And then alt activate. What? What? Okay, hold on. Did it can't remove it from the queue though. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of the alt Milo Yiannopoulos activate. Start inputting. That is no longer a thing. So the question is, okay, now I just can't ever activate, which is fine. I prefer this because it is on the road to victory. Now, what's going on here? So all right. One event to handle, one event to handle. We definitely have keyboard with key pressed. That is a thing. Let's just do this. All right. Let's just do that. Like, let's get cereal. Wait, I ran the game. What? Okay, maybe not. I don't know. Click. We've got a keyboard. It is key pressed. Okay, great. For state there's nobody in the state table. What? Are you talking about? Oh no, this is the 4 expansion. Lol. Okay. Okay, maybe we set a breakpoint here. Okay. Right. Let's actually skip these. Okay. Are we over? No. Are we over? No. Are we over? No. Are we over? No. I really should be doing this with only one text input on the screen. Wait, why does state table have 82 widgets? How is that a thing? Okay, this is what happens in software is you're like, oh yeah, everything works great. And then one day you wake up and you look under the bed and you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to write this down on a piece of paper. State table has 82 widgets, question mark. This might actually be correct. In fact, you know what? It probably fucking is, because we have this big loop over all this. We have all these. We have these with buttons. I just want to make sure, right? Like, this frickin' loop is probably like 32 things. Okay. Get status flags. So we probably don't ever get to here. Yeah, we literally don't. However, we probably do get here. Okay, let's click over a specific one. Lord Dimwit Flathead. And we're just going to break on that one and see why. It's probably a really stupid reason. Really? State. Oh, text is empty. Right, because, okay, we don't actually put the text into our frickin' text input until you click on it. So, like, let's check some other stuff. No, we're not storing the theme. Wow. How do I even know which one this is? Okay, well, it's clear the rect is empty for this one. So that's interesting. Wait, isn't that on widget? No. So the rect is empty for all these guys. So it is not a surprise that this get status flags is not returning something good, because, bro. Now that's weird because we are drawing them. So this is actually a really pedestrian problem, probably. Does this literally never get set? Like what? What is even happening right now? What is even happening? All right, so draw. We're just going to set the rect. Oh, we do. Didn't see it because there were two spaces there. Now, what? Then why is it 0? Oh, because we have rect and then widget.rect. No, we don't have widget.rect. Okay, never mind. I mean, okay. Text input. Draw. Oh, God. Okay, guys. Remember what I just said? Like, until you click on it, we don't do text input. We treat it as a label, right? Correspondingly, we don't ever call draw for text input state. And the problem with that is, if we set the rect only in draw, it doesn't, well, wow, this was a rabbit hole. This is all tied to, like, why did the first click not cause a double click, by the way? Which our beta user who submitted the double click code originally didn't understand, and apparently I didn't either. So here, like, we have body rect and all this stuff. We should do this. Yes. Okay. State.rect equals body rect. We should not do it down there. All right. Hey, look, I could click and activate now. Except now we're not keeping the text for some reason. We're supposed to. Maybe that was an alt act. Maybe because we were always doing alt activate, this wasn't happening. Okay, so now we get to debug that. It's like But this is the thing. It's like that whole alt activate thing was in there, and it was this extra complication that shouldn't have been there. And then things were made to work with that. And over time, that is how you get software that is crufty and bad. And so this is how we fight that. And sometimes it takes more time than we wish it did, but we end up with something good. Now, okay. Okay. Now, let's make sure we still compile. We should. We didn't do a lot there. Okay, so going back to here, we don't need that. We might want this. We'll see. We don't need that. Okay, so we're iterating over the text inputs, and now they actually have appropriate rects. That was important. Now, what did the alt thing do? This didn't happen due to a click. Okay. Okay. So now we have a little bit of stuff. So this, right, active widget add. Okay. Animate the button state. All right. So that's the thing, is this wasn't really doing that. Yes. Okay, see this? Yeah, all this was happening. See, we had redundant active widget adds, unnecessary. We don't have the theme. So this is a little bit of a tricky point. we'll just put this. Okay. Inert text. Dang it. I see. Okay, you know what? We're actually going to factor this differently. No, oh, we can't. Oh, see, this is the pain in the butt. I was going to say, let's just do this next time we drop. But again, a stream of input events comes in. Keystrokes would take effect before we draw. And therefore, this cannot be done at that time. Now, the problem is, the whole idea of this API is you call us with some text. That's called the inert text. That's fine. And then we don't start using an actual full text input widget with all this stuff unless you click on it to start editing, right? Otherwise, it acts as a label. Now, what is the lifetime of that inert text? Before, so here it's just for as long, see, we just do label stuff down here. It's done by the time we return. The problem is, if we're saying during the frickin' text event handling, which is not happening during draw, if we need to know the inert text there because we're supposed to clear our state to that, and then handle these subsequent inputs, that's kind of bad. Now, that said, see, we're already kind of scrambling the events before this, so it doesn't totally matter. Because, like, yeah, that's a thing to think about. But I want to work toward being very clean about that, because it's, so immediate mode GUIs can get very messy about this thing about event order, and at high frame rates it doesn't necessarily matter, and at low frame rates it becomes a problem. So I'm sort of convinced that I need to move toward being cleaner about that. So as I edit this code, I would like to be cleaner. Now the problem is, this brings into question this entire idea about having this inert text that's probably static. Like in the example, it's just static text that says, you know, I'll show you guys. All right, so we go text input of just, okay, we have string A, string B. And we initialize these. Oh, you know? Oh, I mean, okay, here's the thing is, you could call it with just this. But because we want you to edit it and then we call you back with this, we use these. Maybe it's fine. Maybe we just say, look, the lifetime of this string has to be for as long as the widget exists. That's not the worst thing. And I think people would expect that, actually. Hope code has been treating me okay. So this, sorry, I didn't see the message. I was revising it a little bit and it turned into a rabbit hole of figuring out what was already broken with the text widget. Because the whole thing about the first click, you know, not registering, that ended up being a whole thing that has been the majority of the stream now. And things are getting cleaner and better, so it's good. But yeah, I was thinking it might be a 1 hour stream or less. Because, hey, we're just integrating some double-click code. How hard could it be? Yeah. Anyway. So when I tried writing out my own LLVM IR, that was the way that I tried to do this compiler initially. I was like, I don't really want to deal with all these APIs. I'm just going to output a text file and have them deal with it. It was a complete disaster because if you output anything that it doesn't expect at all, there's no user helpful error message. It just crashes. Like the tools will just crash on you all the time. It was a very bad experience that I bailed on very quickly. Okay. So I'm going to make a note to myself that we need to document this. No check-in, document the lifetime of inert text. We should probably change the name of that. Okay, so we're just going to do this. I'm filling up with no check-ins again. But oh boy. All right, so we then can go back to this thing that was not compiling. This is really, really a little bit annoying. It really is. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Oops. All right. So, one click. Great. Why are we still logging that? 2 clicks. 3. Cool. Now, oh, and we're getting the text still, right? That was the problem last time, was that now that we activated this way, we weren't getting text, but now we are. So I think we're done. I think we are done. And I haven't eaten anything today except some peanut butter M&Ms, like 5 of them, and some honey in a tea. Okay, let's delete this event queuing. All right. Okay, no check-in. Let's delete this. All right. Great. Great. Okay. Document. Ah, these are the last 2, bro. We're done. We're going to be done. Yay. Oh, yay. Let me get some peanut butter M&Ms back in a second. Breakfast of champions. Okay. We're going to explain all this in this tag called variables needed for event handling. Dude, our file got shorter though. We were at 1581 lines before. I don't know if this is the right tag for that, but okay. Does double click dragging still work? Probably not, because I don't even know what that is, and there was no comment telling me what it is. So probably not. But like, I changed a ton of stuff. Like the old double click code used to be tied up with dragging. What is double click? Is that a thing? Oh, it's like word by word. Yeah, that's completely broken. It needs to be tied up with dragging. Well, next time tell me that in the comments, because I just spent like an hour at least changing that. Yeah, no, people don't magically know what code means. All right, well, we can look at changing that back on a subsequent stream. But all of this had nothing to do with that anyway. All of this was just some stuff being broken and redundant involving widget activation. Okay. So we need to comment this. That only lasts for the duration of the call to text input. But because then we restructured event handling, which needs to do stuff outside text input at a totally different time. One of the things it needs to do is, when activating the input on a left click, to set the text to whatever inner text was. So we need to buffer this string now, or need to remember this string now past the return from text input. We could copy it every frame, but this is gross and kind of sucks. So for now, we pass a string that lives longer than the widget. That's actually really bad. That's really bad. I think we have to copy it. Right? Because the problem is, okay, you've got some heap allocated string, and it's got some value in it. And then you're like, hey, man, I'm going to change this. I'm going to call some function that gives me a new string and then assign it. And then you free the old one. Like, that's a totally reasonable thing to do because you're not using that one anymore. And we just remembered it too long. Okay. Gross. Gross. Okay. Yeah, there was some comment about dragging in the double click code, but it literally just said dragging. And I was like, I don't understand what this is. So it got deleted. Okay, yeah, we're having this weird thing too, where sometimes it doesn't double click. I don't know what the deal is with that. So, yeah, like right there. I don't know what happened. So we're going to have to look at that. Dude, what just happened? It just like didn't work. Is it if I don't move mouse? I don't think so. I don't know. We're going to figure it out later. Because we're going on 4 hours here for what I hoped would be a 1 hour stream. But this is what we do at Quality Labs Incorporated. So I guess we have two things to look into at least. We have what we just saw, like why on rare occasions does it not actually appear to work? What is the deal there? And then also, there's this like double click dragging that's apparently a thing. So, yes, these will happen later. But for now, I think it is time to, let's, modules get wrecked. Improved behavior around text input, around clicking to activate a text input, integrated double and triple clicking code. Somewhat modified, apparently disabling the drag. All right, so these are what we did today. And we will live to fight it. Oh, I knew it. I was like, I need to check. Oh, the example has no check-in. What did I do there? Oh, yeah. Lol, we were using unmapping allocator the whole time. That's great. Okay. Cool, cool. Cool, cool. You just assume double click drag went without saying, dude. Yeah, I have literally never in my entire life known that that was even a thing. I've never heard of double click drag. But I guess it's a thing that some people know about. So we will make it work again a little bit later, maybe. I don't know. I kind of don't want to put it back together with dragging because that sucked. But maybe there's going to be a way to do it that is clean now. Because I refactored it as several things in that whole body of code. So, yeah, there seems to be a dichotomy in chat. Some people use double click drag every day. Some people had no idea it was a thing. Yeah, text input, only one line. Totally. All right, thank you everybody for coming by. We have done yet another programming stream, 4 hours. See you later on.